Assalamu alaikum, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on which part of the world you are in. Ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, welcome to the Titans Talk Show once again. I have somebody with me on the show today who, by virtue of his looks, should actually have been in the modeling industry or in the film industry, but happens to be in technology. Let me welcome Rabih to the show. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's get started with you. You have spent about a decade in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
Tell us, how does it feel to be in the industry?
It's amazing experience. I have been in the hospitality since 2009. I've started all my career with Rotana Hotels.
Okay.
This was a long journey. We started the ladder from the bottom and we grow year by year. I witnessed a lot of changes in this industry. Since I joined, we adopted many new technologies, many new things. So it was like a lovely journey.
Excellent. You have been in hospitality for a long time now, over a decade. What changes do you think have happened to the industry that's growing so fast? And how do you convince management to continue spending money on technology?
Oh, this is the tough part of the game.
I'm paid to ask tough questions.
The thing is that always we adopt technologies depends on our needs. This is how hospitality treats the IT department. For them, we are expanders, not a revenue generator. So it's always it's needed, then we spend on it. That's how it happens in our industry. However, we have witnessed a lot of, as I mentioned, and a lot of changes in the industry of the hospitality. We changed a lot of things in how we do the operation, from the guest experience wise, and from how we deal with our day-to-day operation. The thing that we used to have a lot of paperwork, we managed to digitize most of them, to transform, and somehow most of our routine tasks to something that is more into the digital world.
Rotana has been a very popular chain in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Tell us, how have you used technology to improve the guest experience?
Rotana has implemented many initiatives or many technologies in the last 6 to 7 years. We have adopted the mobile online check-in first of all. Okay. So the guest can do the online check-in similar to what you do in the airline. Right. We send you a link, you just enter your details, so you have a lot of the formalities done before you even enter to the hotel. Even if you have not done that, then we still have the option of tablet check-in, where the guest, we present for him a tablet. The guest have to just check his details, maybe change a few things and just sign. This is replacing the paperwork which we do before, which is called registration card for the guest. One of the other things was also recently we have adopted the BI solution, the business intelligence solution from SAP technology.
Okay.
So this have we digitize a lot of reports which help the management to take decisions. Also, we have implemented ideas, which is a solution that help you also to make decisions. Revenue, this related to the revenue, to the rates. We give them like a lot of dashboards to see the figures, a lot of things. This is in addition to also having the infrastructure, adopting the latest technology. So we are now in the phase of changing our virtual data centers to hyper-converged solution, from the standard to hyper-converged. Plus we have also centralized many of our solution. Such our PMS, which is the Opera. We are using Opera.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was centralized. We have a data center in Abu Dhabi. This also centralized. We have a lot of things that are going in the loop now. So we are in the right road to adopting some of the technologies.
Excellent, excellent. And if you look at technology, what has been the one impactful technology in the last 5 years that you've seen?
Digital transformation for sure. This is one of the big technologies which is changing the world now.
Are you using it?
We are using somehow, as mentioned, some of the things we are implementing. One of the other technologies is, for me personally, I love it, is the Internet of Things, or Internet of Everything now. I was impressed by this, and I wanted to adopt this kind of technologies. And now we have seen this, how it's changing the world, because this is the first step of digitizing or digital transformation, or it can fall under the same umbrella.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have been aware, of the first hotel, which is totally depending on the robot. This is in Flizhou in China.
Uh-huh.
So this is an example, and some of my visionary concept, but not that much robots. So the hotel whole concept is built on robots.
Okay.
You don't have any human interaction. Everything is, even you have voice recognition. Inside the room you can make all your orders, but I still believe that in this part of the world we still need the human interaction. But we can find the balance or the match between these two things, like giving the guest the luxury of controlling his stay, plus keeping this human interaction between the customer and our hotel.
Very good. Let me take you back to childhood a little bit.
Yeah.
What's the one technology that, and you're still very young, but what's the one technology that you got hooked onto while growing up?
Technology I got hooked was definitely the video gaming.
Wow. What was your favorite?
It's I was fan of PlayStations.
Okay.
Every time there is a new feature, a new game, a new upgrade, it was my passion. But also I was a fan of as well the computer evolution, from from the big computer we had till exactly to the small one. This was what got me really into the IT industry. I remember was having my own lab in the room, playing with the things.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember also I was 16, I built my own computer from different parts. Yeah, so this is what got me really into this industry and discovering more and more about it.
What has been the one project you took up, let's say, or one challenge that you faced and you felt you could have done that better?
Challenges are, I can say every single project we have done was a challenge, and what I can recall is one of our recent changes in our networking. So we have done a lot of changes. I feel the challenge was the company which we deal was not effective in a way that to follow the plan that we have implemented. So this is, I feel if we're going back, we should be more strict into delivering this project. However, we finished on time, but I felt that at this time that I was putting a lot of pressure, a lot of my efforts to get the things on time. Instead of doing it in less efforts, we have put a lot of efforts to complete it. So this is one of the challenges I feel mostly affected me.
And what were your learnings?
Learnings is that when you do your planning, is to push harder to keep the same plan and to choose the right people who have the same mentality as you to deliver the things. Because sometimes in our real world it's always price matters.
Absolutely.
So sometimes you take something as you're not convinced at the beginning that you should take it, but because it have less price, then you go for it. So then you end up facing challenges and problems at the execution. So I feel we have to even we spend a little bit more, but to be from inside, you have the good heart for your supplier, and you can work together.
If you were not in technology, where would you be?
Actually, my plan is to be a pilot, aircraft pilot. Yeah.
Not model.
No, I never thought about it. And also, at the beginning of my studies, I was good in science. So, plan was to be a doctor. But when I started to explore the technology, I told you the lab,
Yes.
so it got me totally to change my mind.
And I'm glad. So technology got a good-looking guy.
Thank you.
Thank you. People, I'm sure you have teams and you deal with them. How do you keep your people motivated?
Actually, it's very hard to keep people motivated, as you might experience as well. But what we do is I make them always to do the role play, to sit in my place, to do the things how I do it, so they experience the real world, how it looks. That how you will be because your team always thinks that you're not doing anything, you're just throwing work for them.
Yeah.
So we just put them sometimes in the same shoe as we are. In addition, that we keep them working on a project. So for me, if we are not doing project, for sure we will be doing a POC, or we are testing something in the new technology, whether a new, even if we don't test it by physically, but we read about it, I keep the team motivated and looking for new technologies, not just to be in the comfort zone sitting with what they have. So I always push them to look for new technologies, things that we can adopt, not necessarily that we need to buy, but something that can be very simple but will affect our operation. Also, we do a lot of trainings for the team, and the hospitality is not only about the technical training, but also we work on the personality and how to develop their skills, managerial skills, to how to deal with people or guests in our industry, how to interact. This is something which is really interesting, that they don't build only their technical experience, as well they grow as a human interaction. So I believe that the team are doing really good in this side, and they keep always looking for things. They always motivated. They want to do. If we don't have anything, they ask me to. Why we don't do like this? Why we don't try this? Why we don't go this side? So always they have something to work on. This is how we keep them always motivated.
Hospitality, and coming back to your industry, hospitality is largely guest driven or consumer driven. So if I were to ask you in the next 5 or 10 years, what do you think will be the one technology or something that you can say that will actually play a very key role in consumers making the difference?
I believe with the new generation being very into technology and having everything enhanced, I believe the most you have automation in your industry, the most you will gain. I was giving you the example of this hotel. I believe this will be the direction of all the people or all the hospitality industry, having everything in your hands. Having maybe tablet, maybe your phone, maybe your device, to control everything in your room, from the curtains, from the temperature in your room, from your TV volume, from the water inside your room. You can control the temperature, from the whole experience of the guest, from the check-in. We will face very soon that guest doesn't want a person who's talking to him. Maybe he needs a kiosk to come and just do the whole check-in process. I believe more and more the generation will change into this technology way, but I will still need to keep a little space for the old generation. Exactly. By the way, in our Rotana as well, we have started kind of this through our mobile app. Now all the guests staying with us, they have the option to order instead of calling the housekeeping to bring stuff or calling the front office, they have a list of orders that they can execute directly from their mobile app. And this will directly reach to our either housekeeping, either front office, for the concerned person to handle this case. And this we seen, like at the beginning, we saw very minimum people, if I can say none. But with the time, I can see more and more people using this technology. And I believe this is the trend that will be in the nearest future. And you need to give now the customer the whole experience from the airport till he check out again or back to airport. Yeah, it's a whole
the entire value chain.
Exactly.
And what should IT leaders such as yourself do to make sure we're able to meet the business?
First of all, we have, as the IT leaders, to adapt ourselves as well to these changes, to be convinced that this is the trend, this is what will be in the future, to educate ourselves more, because that we need to know where this technology will fit us, where will not. So we have to understand this concept. This where it will benefit me, where it will not. So the thing is that, as well as leaders, we need to be aware of all these challenges, because most of the time we start a project and we start to learn. So at the beginning we have a goal to do something, and then with the utilization of the things that we can find another way, like it can benefit somewhere else, it can benefit so it's a self-learning, I believe, for the IT leaders to educate themselves about this technology. Because at the end, you don't in our industry, you don't deal with one technology, and we are not only on security, only in administration. Or, you cannot say like this. You have to have the whole picture about everything, and to keep yourself always into the road.
What has been your eureka moment?
Eureka moment.
And you felt, wow.
Actually, it was like at the beginnings of my career, that when I did a full implementation of a network. Like we had a network which is very old, so we had to do the full upgrade, and also to change the location of the server rooms and the whole things. So it was like a very challenging project, because anything that can happen, you will blast your whole operation. But luckily that we have done a good job for that, and for me, like when we finished, it was like wow. I felt like it was a big achievement. We worked day and night to make sure that every single piece of the project is done properly and very well.
Do you have fun at work?
Every day.
Really?
Yeah.
And what do you people say about you when they see you going, or they see you?
Some they like me, some they don't. Depends on the mood. But most of the people, they like my smile, because I always try to smile.
What do they say about you?
Funny guy.
If you were to give them one piece of advice, what would that be?
One piece of advice is to keep learning. I give it for everybody, and I don't say that there is a limit for the learnings. It doesn't need to be in your area or your field. It should be in everywhere, because today the differences is in your knowledges. There is many people in your field. There is many people who can do the job maybe better than you, but what counts is your knowledge, is your education, is your how you treat the people. This is, I believe, for me, is the good advice.
Excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, we had somebody on our show today whose name means spring. Very excited to speak to you.
Thank you.
Couple of takeaways for me. One of them is keep learning. He's very young himself, but he said keep learning. Make sure you are in touch with your technology, number one. Number two, always stay close to your customer. So understand what your customer does. And I liked what he said, from the time he arrives at the airport till the time he checks into the hotel. So every touch point possible, make it automation enabled so that the customer or consumer is able to log in and do what he wants to from where he is. At the same time, a third most important thing is that keep in touch with reality, which means keep a space for the generation X who may want to do a personal check-in or have somebody help them to do their things. So very, very important to stay rooted to reality. So ladies and gentlemen, we wind up this show with a lovely smile from our guest, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much for coming on our show, and wish you a great future with Rotana.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.